All right. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, whenever you're checking this out. This lesson is all about creating equations to represent real-world context. So we'll go through the steps of how to create them, and then we'll do two practice together, and then you'll be expected to complete your independent practice. So when we are creating these equations, the first thing you need to do, it's going to be pretty obvious here, is going to be to read the question. And in some cases, you're going to need to read it more than once. And then after you read it, you need to ask yourself, what is the question asking me to find? And once you figure out what it's asking you to find, you need to create a variable to represent that. My cat just jumped into my lap. Hi. Okay. The next thing is to determine the mathematical operation taking place. Is it addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division? Guys, this is just ridiculous. Next thing we're going to do is write the equation to represent the situation. So read the question, figure out what it's asking you to find, use a variable to represent the unknown, determine the operation, write the equation taking place, and then you're going to solve the equation so that way we can answer the question. If you need to pause this to get in all of these spaces, please do so, but we're going to just get started. So I've created these tables here to break it into each step. So the first thing was what we're going to read. Step 2 is figure out what the question is, creating the variable, creating the equation, and then solving. So here we have Mason started with $450. He saved $85 per week until he had exactly $4,020. And how many weeks did that take? So I'm going to highlight some things here. Number 1, started with $450. Number 2, saved $85 per week and then had exactly $4,020. So those are the 3 known pieces of information that we have. And then you can probably see already the question right here. So I'm going to just rewrite that into the question. So the question is, how many weeks did it take to save, come on computer, to save $4,020? Okay, so we want to know how many weeks. So now we need to choose a variable to represent what we're trying to find. So I'm going to choose W to represent weeks. All right, now this is probably the trickiest part here, is creating the equation. But really, all you need to do is break it down piece by piece. All right, so Mason here started with $450, so that was his beginning amount. To his beginning amount, he saved or added $85 each week. Okay. Now this phrase per here means multiply, because after 1 week he's made $85. After 2 weeks he's made 85 plus 85. 3 weeks it's 85 plus 85 plus $85. So it's multiplying based on how many weeks he's worked. So we're to his beginning amount, we're adding $85 for how many weeks he works. Remember, we don't know how many weeks, so we're going to represent that with a W. And then he wants to have exactly or equal $4,020. And then now we can solve. So we're trying to find W here. I can subtract $450 from each side. And I get 85W equals 0 minus 0 is 0. and then I can't, so I have to borrow 10, I have to borrow 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7. 9 minus 4 is 5, and then we get 3. All right. Now we can divide by 85. Divide by 85. I'm not going to take the time to do this, so I'm going to use my calculator. And we get W equals 42. So that means after 42 weeks, you will make $4,020. Okay, so we wanted to know after how many weeks will he make that amount of money. So we used W to represent weeks, and then we solved for W to figure out how many weeks it would take him to make that total. So find your question, create a variable, set up your equation, and then solve. Now again, it's just going to be really important to break it up into piece by piece. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. Let's go ahead and read this. We have Zion and his cousin both collect stamps. Zion has 56 stamps, and his cousin has 80 stamps. Both have recently joined different stamp collecting clubs. Zion's club will send him 12 new stamps per month, and his cousin's club will send him 8 new stamps per month. After how many months will Zion and his cousin have exactly the same number of stamps? Okay, so there's more to this one than the first one. The one thing that I noticed is that we have two different people going on here, right? We have Zion and we have his cousin. And I want to know when their amounts are going to equal each other. So that tells me I'm going to have an equal sign. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. And I'm going to have Zion on this side. And I'm going to have his cousin over here on this side. But before we get to that, let's go ahead and find these pieces of information, right? So the question here is, after how many months will Zion and his cousin have the exact same number of stamps? Okay, at how many months will I have the same number of stamps? So it's saying at how many months. So I'm gonna use M for months. So that's what I'm trying to find is months. M goes great with months. All right, so again, the tricky part is the equation. So I told you already, it wants to know when him and then his cousin will have equal amounts. So him equals cousin. So that's how we're going to set this up. So Zion on one side and then his cousin on the other side. So I'm going to highlight all of the things that we know about Zion first. He has 56 stamps. His cousin has 80. I don't care about his cousin right now. Both have recently joined. Zion's club will send him 12 new stamps per month. Okay, so he has 56 stamps. He's started with that amount. So that is his, well, I'm going to write starting there instead. Come on, eraser. Oh my goodness, it's freaking out. So I'm going to write his starting amount. So 56 is going to be what we start with on Zion. And then his club is sending him 12 new stamps per month. So that means they're adding 12 stamps. And then there's that word per again, which means to multiply. So based on how many months, if it's been 1 month, he has 12 stamps. If it's 2 months, that's 24. 3, 36. So each month, it's multiplying by 12. Okay, there is Zion. Now let's do his cousin. His cousin has 80 stamps. That's his beginning amount. And then his club is sending him 8 new stamps per month. So now I'm going to add 8 per month. Great. Now we can solve. just like earlier this week, I got variables on both sides here. I can see my 12m versus my 8m. So I immediately know I need to get my variable to one side. So I'm going to subtract 8m. 8m is the smaller one, so let's move that. And I get 56 plus 4m equals 80. I'm going to subtract 56 from both sides. I get 4m equals 24. So that means divide by 4, and m equals 6. So at 6 months, because remember m represented months up here. So at 6 months, Zion and his cousin will, what was the question? When will they have the same number of stamps? So at 6 months, him and his cousin will have the same number of stamps. Okay, so whenever you read through the question, if it has one scenario, it's going to be like this. Okay? If you read through a question and you can tell that there's two different things going on, it's going to look like this, where you represent one of the businesses or one of the people or one of the situations on one side and then the other one on the other side. So I recommend you doing what I did and highlighting the pieces of information that go with the first person or first company or first place, and then highlighting the information that goes with the second person or place or whatever. Okay? So you have quite a few example or independent practice problems. Now, if you get stuck where you click on student packet, you should see the student packet, you should see the mastery check, you should see the missed class like normal, but there's also a page that says IP hints. And so if you get stuck, open up that, and I give you some hints here to help you get started if you need them. But please, please, please try them first. Only if you are stuck, go check those hints out. And don't rely on them for every problem. If you're stuck on the first one, then use the hints, do it, and then try this next one on your own before you look. Okay? You're going to crush it. And then once you're finished, do the mastery check, send me a message when it's complete. Thank you for your hard work, and I'll see you soon.